And then we have the education system. I love this. This is another thing. You know, I was just thinking, if you sat down and you said, right, you want to manipulate the mind of the population. So you sat down around a table and you said, look, I don't know whether they'll stand for it, but what would be the best way of turning out young people as clones of our sense of reality we want them to have, because then they'll be controllable. And someone said, well, it's a bit far-fetched, but I'll tell you what we want is a system, and we'll call it education, because it's newspeak, like Orwell talked about. You know, you just give a word for the opposite of what it is. And we'll call it education, and it means that we'll take children from their parents at a very early age, and we'll keep them there about 5 days a week at least, all the way through their formative years, and we'll pound them every day with our version of reality. They'd never stand for that. That's what we have. Now, there's two sides of the brain. There's the left brain, which is like this world thinks in words. It thinks in logic. Physical worldview, can I see it, touch it, taste it, smell it? It exists then. And then there's the right brain, which is inspiration, creativity, the artist, the person who does not see limits. Someone who thinks through the heart as well as the brain, the mind. And what the education system wants to do is pour information, most of it provable crap, into the left brain, and it says, hold it there, darlings, until we give you a shout. And then it says, ladies and gentlemen, you have 2 hours to complete this paper. Please pick up your pens. At which point you're supposed to spew out what it has told you onto the paper. And if you do that well, you get rewarded. Hey, my John is very clever. Hey, you get a good job with all those passes. Oh, your John is well indoctrinated, isn't he? Yes. Now, carrot and stick. If you are thinking for yourself, and you're a young guy or a young girl, and you take that stuff in there, and you whip it over there and give it a look, and you go, it's a piece of shit, look at it, look at it. If you tell your exam paper that, there's a phone call. Hello, is that Mrs. Jones? Billy's a disruptive influence in the classroom. You mean he's asking questions? Yes, they'll all want to do it. Yeah? You know, in the last part of the talk, I'm really going to get into the nature of reality and how we create it, because there's so much information and supporting evidence now to give us a real fix on how we're creating reality, because this is an illusion. But how is it an illusion, and how do we create it? More and more knowledge on that. But these guys, these manipulators, know it's an illusion, and they know we're creating it through our minds, and so they know if they program our minds with the right illusion, we'll create it physically. And the education system is massively, massively part of that. As H.L. Mencken, an American writer, said all those years ago, the most dangerous man to any government is the man who is able to think things out for himself. Almost inevitably, he comes to the conclusion that the government he lives under is dishonest, insane, and intolerable. And that is why we are pressured from cradle to grave not to figure it out. Sorry, boys, no can do.